Fred Thomas, MP for Plymouth Moorview and member of the House of Commons Defence Select Committee, former Royal Marines officer. We're a month out from the Defence Review being published, and a lot of people are turning their attention now to making sure its recommendations are delivered. What do you think the challenges the Ministry of Defence and the Armed Forces face in making sure that it is delivered and its vision is turned into reality?
Yeah, you're completely right. That is the big question. How do we do that going forward? There are various technical challenges to doing it. The overall question is one of political drive. And I think you will see that from Secretary of State John Healey, and you'll see it from the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who totally understand that this country has entered a different state in terms of our threat level. They're trying to communicate that with the public. We've already announced a historic rise in defence spending, the first since the 80s. So that's a massive change from this government. How do we make the brilliant strategy in the SDR into reality? Big challenges, regulatory challenges, cultural challenges, so that's people. And we're trying to get after this. So what the Secretary of State has announced is a reform of the MOD. Now, you know the details of that. How do people make that work and deliver the change? Some of it's to do with individual leadership, personalities, getting on with the job, accepting compromise. Some of it's about risk tolerance. That's really, really hard, because when you're a public servant or a civil servant, it's very difficult to take on risk personally. Yep. We need people to do that now. No longer can we just pass on any risk to the big primes and say, listen, you do this, if you fail, you fail, but we're covered. No, we need to go out and actually take on some risk ourselves as the state. That's very difficult to do, but I think ultimately political leadership will get it over the line.
So the Ministry of Defence has a pretty notorious record for poor delivery, cost overruns, equipment being late, equipment that doesn't work. I mean, what can politicians do to drive down into that bureaucracy and make those disasters of the past a thing of the past?
I think it's, firstly, I'll slightly challenge whether that's a fair reputation. I mean, you're right, words like that do get written and said a lot. These are huge multi-year billion-pound platforms that we're talking about. So these projects are always going to be very difficult to execute. And in fact, what's quite key to notice is we have got a fantastic defence. We have got an incredible war-fighting ability, and we are currently a secure country. What we're talking about is, we're going to be in 20 years' time, because we know there's a big lag in defence. You can't just buy things suddenly. You've got to do things sort of decades ahead. So within that context, how can parliamentarians keep an eye on that? Obviously, within the Defence Select Committee, which I serve on, we scrutinise what the MOD has done, but it's retrospective. It's very hard to get over, to get on across what they're going to do in the future. I think political pressure, in a friendly sense, from backbench MPs, cross-party, and I really think defence needs to be a cross-party issue. Political pressure to say to the Prime Minister, Secretary of State, and to the Treasury as well, the Chancellor, look, we're totally behind you. We're communicating this message to our constituents that some of this taxpayer money, which otherwise, in a perfect world, if there was no war and no threat, we could spend on health and education and transport, etc. Actually, we're going to need to spend it on procuring things we're not currently procuring. It's a difficult message. We need to give that message to the Prime Minister and the Chancellor, and give that message to our constituents.
Fred Thomas, we look forward to reading your report into the Defence Review in coming weeks. Thank you.
Very good.